Step into sci-fi codes where mystery meets imagination. Enjoy the journey, and don't forget to subscribe. Chapter 1: The Quiet Before the Storm. The morning sun rose slowly over the farming colony of New Haven, casting long shadows across Jack Mason's wheat fields. He stood on his front porch, a cup of coffee in his weathered hands, watching his 16-year-old daughter, Lisa, load her school bag into their old ground car. The peaceful morning belied the storm brewing just beyond the stars. "Don't forget your lunch," he called out, his voice gentle yet carrying the unmistakable hint of authority that never quite left him from his military days. Lisa rolled her eyes but smiled. "Already packed, Dad. You worry too much." Jack smiled back, but his eyes constantly scanned the horizon. Old habits died hard. Once, 20 years ago, he had been the deadliest operative in the colonial defense force, known only as the Ghost. Now, he was just another farmer, living a quiet life on a remote colony. Or so he hoped. The farmhouse looked simple on the outside, but appearances were deceiving. Hidden security cameras covered every angle, motion sensors monitored the perimeter, and beneath the barn lay a fortified bunker, stocked with enough supplies and weapons to hold off a small army. Jack had made enemies in his past, and though most of them believed him dead, he never truly let his guard down. Lisa climbed into the car, glancing at her father with an amused expression. "I might be late today," she said. "We're preparing for the field trip to the botanical gardens tomorrow." Jack nodded, his mind automatically calculating security risks. The botanical gardens were within the colony's safe zone, and he had already checked the staff backgrounds twice. "Have fun. Call me if you need anything." As Lisa drove away, Jack walked toward the barn. He had real work to do, honest work that didn't involve killing. The wheat needed tending, and the automated harvesters required maintenance. Unbeknownst to both father and daughter, they were being watched. High above the colony, a camouflage ship hovered in low orbit. Inside, 3 aliens studied holographic displays of the colony's layout. "The human settlement looks peaceful enough," one of them said, his blue scales shimmering under the ship's lights. "Their defenses are minimal." The second alien, larger than the first, clicked his mandibles in agreement. "Perfect for our needs. Their young ones will fetch a good price in the outer systems." Their leader focused on an image of Lisa's school, zooming in on her car as it drove toward the campus. "The human offspring are especially valuable. Their adaptability makes them excellent workers." He paused, contemplating. "This batch looks particularly promising." Chapter 2: The First Signs of Trouble. Back on the ground, Jack worked in his fields, unaware of the looming threat. He checked soil moisture levels, adjusted the mineral content, and ensured the harvesters were functioning properly. Tasks that seemed far removed from his violent past. Yet, even as he worked, his trained senses remained alert. A distant police siren made him look up sharply. His heart pounded for a split second before he forced himself to relax. Just a routine patrol. The colony was safe. It had to be. He had chosen it carefully, vetted every neighbor within a 5-mile radius, and maintained good relationships with local law enforcement. Inside his pocket, a small device tracked Lisa's location through her phone and smartwatch. Another monitored the colony's emergency channels. Paranoia, perhaps, but paranoia had kept him alive during the Galactic Wars, and now, it would keep his daughter safe. As the morning wore on, Jack finished his fieldwork and headed inside. He paused outside Lisa's room, his gaze lingering on the pictures adorning her walls. Smiling friends, school events, a triumphant moment from the colony's science fair. A normal teenage life, one he had worked hard to give her. But his instincts screamed at him that normality was an illusion. On his desk in the study, an encrypted computer terminal quietly monitored galactic news and security updates. 20 years of peace had dulled his instincts, or so he thought. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, especially for humans, who had only recently joined the interstellar community. He sometimes wondered if he was being too cautious, too protective. But then he remembered the horrors he had seen, the nightmares lurking between the stars. No. He wasn't being too careful. If anything, he might not be careful enough. Chapter 3, The Attack. The botanical gardens sparkled under the morning sun as Lisa stood with her classmates, listening to their teacher explain the day's activities. The massive greenhouse domes stretched high above them, filled with plants from 100 different worlds. Stay with your assigned partners, the teacher instructed, handing out digital tablets. Document at least 5 species from each climate zone. Lisa paired up with her best friend, Tom, who was already excited. I heard they have walking trees from the ruthless system, he whispered. Neither teenager noticed the garden's security cameras slowly going dark, one by one. The attack came without warning. The dome's atmosphere filled with a sweet-smelling gas. Students began collapsing, unconscious before they could even cry out. Lisa's training from her father kicked in instantly. She held her breath and grabbed Tom's arm, pulling him toward the emergency exit. "Run," she shouted. But Tom was already stumbling, his eyes unfocused. Lisa's vision swam as the gas began to take effect. Through the haze, she saw dark shapes moving, tall figures in environmental suits, grabbing the unconscious students. Her lungs burned for air. The exit was 20 feet away. She almost made it. A strong hand grabbed her from behind. Lisa twisted, using the self-defense techniques her father had taught her. Her attacker grunted in surprise as she broke free, but another was waiting. Something sharp pressed against her neck. Darkness took her. Chapter 4, The Ghost Awakens. Back at the farm, Jack was fixing a broken harvester when all his security alerts went off at once. His emergency phone buzzed with messages from the colony's alert system. His heart stopped when he saw the location. The botanical gardens. He sprinted to his truck, already calling the local police. The dispatcher's voice was shaking. Multiple kidnappings reported at the gardens. All human teenagers. Unknown number of attackers. Jack's mind shifted instantly, from farmer to warrior. He drove at dangerous speeds toward the gardens, his hidden weapon strapped to his hip. But he was too late. Police Chief Bill Thompson met him at the scene. They took 15 kids, he said, his face pale. Professional job. They knocked out the security systems and used some kind of sleeping gas. Any demands? Jack's voice was cold, controlled. Too controlled. Nothing yet. Bill watched Jack carefully. Who are you really, Jack? Jack ignored the question, studying the ground. 3-toed footprints marked the grass. His old instincts were awakening, like a predator stirring from slumber. They took her alive, he muttered. That means they're slavers. They'll sell them in the outer systems. Bill's eyes widened. How do you know that? Jack's expression was pure steel. Because I've hunted their kind before. He turned toward his truck. Chief, I need access to your communications array. I have some old friends to contact. Bill exhaled sharply. This isn't just about Lisa, is it? Jack's gaze was unwavering. No. It's about every single one of them. Chapter 5, The Ghost's Vengeance. Jack Mason was no longer just a farmer. The ghost had returned. He stood in his underground bunker, surrounded by the weapons and gear he had sworn never to use again. His hands worked swiftly, loading ammunition, calibrating his old armor, and scanning intelligence reports pulled from the colony's communication array. The slavers had a head start, but Jack knew their methods, their routes, and most importantly, their weaknesses. A coded message flickered onto his terminal. It was from an old war comrade, Captain Reyes of the privateer vessel Iron Fong. Jack, got your message. We tracked an unregistered ship leaving New Haven's orbit 2 hours ago. They're headed for the rift, probably to offload the kids at a black market auction. We can intercept, but we'll need your help. Jack's jaw tightened. Send me the coordinates. I'm coming. Bill Thompson arrived just in time to see Jack loading a sleek, black combat rifle into his truck. Jack, listen, this is a job for professionals. The colony has. Jack cut him off. This is personal. The police chief sighed. You have no jurisdiction out there." Jack's eyes burned with fury. "Neither do they." He climbed into his truck and sped toward the hidden launch pad where his old stealth ship, Nightfall, was stored. As the hidden doors slid open, revealing the sleek black vessel, Jack took a deep breath. It had been years since he had flown it. But muscle memory returned as he fired up the engines. Within moments, he was airborne, heading straight for the rendezvous point. Chapter 6: Into the Rift. The Rift was a chaotic and lawless expanse of space filled with derelict ships, asteroid hideouts, and some of the most dangerous criminals in the galaxy. Jack met with Captain Reyes and his crew aboard the Iron Fawn, a heavily armed privateer vessel built for speed and firepower. Reyes, a grizzled veteran with cybernetic enhancements, clasped Jack's forearm in a firm grip. "Hell of a way to come out of retirement, Ghost." Jack didn't respond. His mind was already working on a plan. The slaver ship, Blood Price, had docked with a larger vessel, a floating black market auction house known as the Gilded Cage. Inside, Lisa and the other kidnapped children were being prepped for sale. Jack studied the station's security layout. Automated turrets, biometric scanners, and mercenaries patrolling the corridors. It was a fortress. "I need a way in," he said. Reyes smirked. "We'll get you close. After that, you do what you do best." Jack donned his stealth suit, checked his weapons, and prepared to do what he had sworn he never would again: become the Ghost. Chapter 7: The Infiltration. Using the Iron Fawn's stealth capabilities, Jack slipped into the Gilded Cage's docking bay unnoticed. The ship's security was tight, but Jack moved like a shadow, disabling cameras and neutralizing guards with ruthless precision. Inside the station, the atmosphere was opulent and vile, luxurious halls filled with the galaxy's worst criminals, bidding on slaves as if they were mere commodities. Jack clenched his jaw, forcing himself to stay focused. He located the holding cells. Lisa was there, chained but unbroken, her eyes burning with defiance. When she saw him, her breath caught in her throat. "Dad?" Jack's knife sliced through her restraints. "We're leaving." The other children stirred. Jack moved quickly, unlocking their cells and motioning for them to follow. "Stay close. Stay quiet." As they moved through the station, alarms blared. The slavers had discovered the breach. Chapter 8: The Ghost Unleashed. The halls erupted into chaos. Jack moved like a specter, eliminating enemies before they could react. Reyes and his crew engaged in a brutal firefight in the docking bay, cutting off the slavers' escape. Lisa watched in awe as her father dismantled an entire operation with cold efficiency. The man who had raised her as a kind and cautious farmer was now a force of destruction. The slaver captain, a towering reptilian warlord, attempted to flee in a private escape pod. Jack intercepted him, pinning him against the bulkhead with a knife to his throat. "Who are you?" the slaver gasped. Jack's voice was cold. "The last thing you'll ever see." A single shot ended the warlord's reign of terror. With the slavers defeated, Jack and Reyes guided the children aboard the Iron Fawn. As the Gilded Cage exploded behind them, the ship jumped to safety. Chapter 9: Home Again. The Iron Fawn landed in New Haven to a hero's welcome. Parents sobbed as they embraced their rescued children. Lisa stood by Jack, looking up at him with newfound understanding. Bill Thompson approached. "Remind me never to doubt you again." Jack smirked. "Just keep my daughter safe." Lisa hugged him tightly. "You're not just a farmer, are you?" Jack sighed, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. "I am now." For the first time in years, he believed it. Ready for more? Like, subscribe, and let's keep exploring the unknown together.